All right. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the point about Sheena Johnson, right? The day we had sex. She never conveyed, like in this particular episode, that she was waiting for marriage before she had sex. Otherwise, she wouldn't have had sex with her. I wouldn't have had sex with her. There were a lot of girls I was confused about how far to take it when dating, right? So I stopped short of entering them. I didn't penetrate them. And again, I usually went home and went to sleep or, like would have a wet dream later on at night, but I never forced sex. Mm-hmm. At all. But after Shade's party, right, I started entering the females, right? I had done been with 5 women sexually, right? I thought she understood that too. With my involvement with the church. And even though she told me she was Pentecostal, I didn't know what that meant, right? I didn't know what her church believes, right? She didn't tell me. She didn't tell you. I know that. I know that, right? Well, the difference is, though, I know, I pulled down her panties and shorts, right? And pulled down my shorts and underwear, right? And had sex with her, right? Yeah, then I redressed her and myself, right? Or myself and her, either way. And again, right? Never even stuck my head down there, right? right.
Between the two of them, and forgave Lucas and understood that what he had done was right and godly.
And why did you record this meeting?
Because I knew the state of New York would not understand or accept our beliefs. But my obligation lies with the well-being of my congregants. Mm-hmm. Lucas should not be made to suffer for saving Anne, for being a messenger of God's will.
And is it your impression as Anne's spiritual counselor that she wanted to be saved from homosexuality?
Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind. We discussed it on many occasions.
Objection. This is privileged communication between a clergyman and a congregant. Ms. Davenport has not waived this privilege.
Sustained.
Reverend, one last question. As head of the church, is it your belief that God condones, mandates, curative intercourse?
Yes.
No further questions.
You were not in the hotel room when Anne was assaulted?
No.
You did not hear what she said or did not say?
That's correct.
You allege that in your private meeting after the assault, Anne forgave the defendant?
I'm certain of it. I was there.
You are certain of that? You believe that she forgave him, that her forgiveness was genuine?
Absolutely.
Then the defendant must have done something wrong. Doesn't granting forgiveness imply a crime, a transgression that needs to be forgiven in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You do not understand our core beliefs. You do not understand.
This is not about beliefs. It's not about God. It's not about homosexuality. It's about a crime. It's about a woman who says no, and a man rapes her anyway.
Objection.
Withdrawn.
But that's the point. There was no to any sex act I performed with Sheena when I pulled down her shorts and panties, right? She was half dressed, right? She still had on her top, right? But she let me pull down her shorts and panties. So I pulled down mine, right? My shorts and underwear. Mm-hmm. And I went inside of her, right? She did not say I could not, right? That's the difference. She did not convey, okay, that she wanted oral sex as in the night before either. So that's where our lines are crossing, right? Her church, if they practice premarital sex, I don't know what that means anymore, right? Because my church claimed the same thing, yet my friends around me are having sex, right? So I'm confused by the time I meet her. In fact, I've been with 5 women sexually too, right? And I'm a church going person, right? But the problem comes in where we're doing it. She seems fine with it. We finish, and within a minute or so, that's usually how long sexual intercourse lasts. The first time for a male or female. And then, right, we go about the rest of the date. We're on the date, and two. Now, when does this become rape?
No, I tried to push him off. He didn't stop.
She didn't lie. She was experiencing a union with God. It's what happens. It's like Reverend Gary says, resist the devil and he will flee from you.
So she was resisting.
Her demons were resisting, and sometimes you have to fight through them to save someone. And if I'm the one that has to pay for it, so be it. But I love Anne. I would never want to hurt her.
You did.
Now, when did she say no, though? Before the intercourse. Right. That's what I'm trying to tell Sheena as well. If you say, I'm waiting for marriage and I have sex with you anyway, are you telling me you wanted only the oral sex we were trying to do last night we got interrupted with? And I would have understood that. In fact, like I said, I'm apprehensive sometimes about going all the way with the female unless she seems what? Open to it, right? But with the women I was with so far, and some of them were church women, don't you think? Don't you think? And some of them weren't. Church women. But do you think if I meet someone at the club, that don't mean she don't go out to church Sunday morning? No. No. There. Now, what do you go out to church for? To forgive your sins from the night before. Don't tell me you don't do that. We all do that. We all do that. But what you're doing there is repenting, right? See, I'm teaching on it, that right? I'm making it educational on a real rape case, possibly, because I'm confused about what happened between me and my ex-girlfriend, and I want to know and her to understand I did not mean to violate your rights to wait for marriage. You did not communicate that to me, and I wasn't waiting for marriage when I met you. I know. You understand the difference, though?
Reverend Gary has some kind of hold on you. We need to know.
If I pulled out of your panties, so am mine too.
I'm not sure what you mean.
And you got your eyes closed, I think you're ready for what? Sex.
Can you tell us why?
Right.
I got into trouble at school.
Okay.
You never communicated to me, though, either.
He did.
Let's take up where we left off yesterday. I still could have licked you and then do the sex too if you close your eyes.
When I was a teenager,
Be about
Christ told me to jump.
5 minutes longer, but okay.
It was the best thing that could have happened. I learned so much. He taught me to trust in God's plan.
You here on trial for rape? That seemed like part of God's plan to you?
It has to be.
He told you that you had to live with him. He told you to quit school.
Not just me, there were others.
Okay. So what else did he tell you and the others to do?
Our chores at the house, the church. He
This
made sure that we studied the scriptures. He took us to other counties so that we could volunteer for their youth programs.
Did he ever ask you to perform curative intercourse before?
You don't understand him or us. He showed me the path to righteousness.
Lucas, look, I'm sure that when he's quoting the Bible, it sounds like he really knows what he's talking about, but you can trust me. Somebody who uses God as an excuse to commit crimes.
You've got him all wrong.
He told you to assault Anne.
He saw a lady with her. He knew she was in trouble and that we were out of time.
So he ordered it specifically.
He saved me. He's not the sinner. I am. It was my penance.
Because he's homosexual.
Penance. Penance for what?
Anne didn't just confide in me because we're friends. We succumbed to the same temptation. I never got into trouble at school. Reverend Gary
caught me one night with a friend.
Mm-hmm. A male. A boy. A boy. Uh-oh. Yeah. What is that, though? And, did he know what he was doing, or was he influenced by someone pretending to understand the Bible, but who really didn't? I know. That's what I mean with Sheena. I know. Religious people will tell you their interpretation of the Bible, like Jesus said, right? They'll say, like with the Sabbath day and picking corn, that's a sin, right? But really, David was allowed to eat the shewbread, which only the priest could eat by law, and that's how he defended him. Now, had Sheena told me two things, I only want oral sex, or I'm waiting for marriage, I would have understood that and wouldn't have had sex with her. I know. But because she did not, you didn't know. I didn't know. And I'm not laughing to her pain, right? If she did not want the sex, and then when she realized we did have the sex, that's why she got mad, right? But she's bringing what her dad told her into it. Ah. No one wants to marry you, huh, Sheena? That's not what I said. But only thing different is I understand premarital sex don't mean you don't not marry the girl. I still was gonna legally marry you. We wouldn't let it happen. Hello? I was gonna try to arrange a marriage in Jerusalem with you. Or if we got back to Norfolk, when you got back. Same with Daphne. I'm trying not just to have premarital sex with Daphne, but I'm trying to marry her. She got that. She got that. And, I don't know if you got pregnant or anything, but I'm trying to be there for you. That's a marriage too. Becoming one flesh is the literal part of that marriage. Now, I just had you to wife, like the 7 brothers who had the 7 women, right? Now, only one of the brothers was or wasn't legally married to her. If she's committing adultery against someone, that's different too, right? Like Jesus. See, they're not telling you everything in the Bible either. They're privately interpreting it. That's what Jesus warns against, right? People who tell you their version of the Bible. But Paul talks about a father keeping his virgin. Who do you think he's talking to there? The father. The father. And telling him to keep his virgin pure until she marries. But if she marries, it's up to you. Mm-hmm. But he's lying. He's lying. Moses didn't say it that way, I know. Moses said, if a man entice a maid and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife if she's a virgin, right? And then, right, he goes to the father and asks her hand in marriage, right? And then, right, they can either get married or the father refuses. And if he refuses, he pays her dowry because he took her virginity, right? And that's to also, like with Hosea, pay someone to marry her instead, too, because he's got her dowry, right? That's what he's used the money for. Right. For the daughter's real wedding to her true husband. That's what I mean, too, Sheena. Even if I'm not your true husband, right? I also realize whatever misinterpretation we had there, you and I weren't on the same page. Two could not walk together unless he be agreed. Another passage in the Bible we've already read. Right.
The kids with normal sexual desire because you make them feel like they have the devil inside them.
They do. And it kills me. You have no idea how much I love them. All I want to do is protect them from the sins of the world, from themselves.
You can't rape the gay out of somebody. Conversion therapy, it doesn't work.
But you're never gonna believe that, are you?
Guys, I hope we're not here so you can try to convince my client that his religious beliefs are criminal.
No, he believes what he believes and we get that.
What you had Lucas do to Ann, that is a crime. It's sex trafficking.
Sex trafficking. Come on.
Come on. All right. We found the payments. Not just to Lucas, but to the others too. And I promise you we're gonna talk to every single one of them.
The Lord himself sent those children to me to save them.
And you don't have jurisdiction in Indiana.
He's right, we don't. But the feds do. And if we call them on an interstate trafficking case, the first thing they're gonna do is seize all your church's assets. Every single penny. God.
I have over 900 congregants who raise money for the poor, for disaster relief, for missionary work. We're good people.
I agree your church has done some good things. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and the road that we're on
Right.
every person you've ever preached to will be tainted. Everything you've ever built, that you've ever worked for.
But does that mean I wasn't illegally married, you, Sheena? No.
You're gonna plead guilty.
You know what?
I'm here.
But I felt like something was wrong,
Wait,
but you never told me what the problem was. Like we were on the same page when obviously we
People
were.
that we help don't deserve this. My congregation doesn't deserve this.
Reverend, this is blackmail.
No, this is my burden. This is my church. These are my people. If it means I have to sacrifice myself in order to save them, then so be it.
That's messed up too. It's just a juice. He pleads guilty. He pleads guilty.
He's really going for it.
I'll offer a plea for facilitation, as long as it stops that church from conspiring to commit rape.
Well, whatever the judge gives him, it'll give him plenty of time to get right with God.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas?
He held up his end of the bargain. Rape 3, 1 to 4.
Do you know what the most frightening part of all of this is? Is that the Reverend actually believes that he's doing the right thing,
Yeah. So his congregants.
which is even more frightening.
Yep. But see, that's like what he says also when talking about rape itself and describing it, Sheena. Did they ever show you that you gotta say no or tell the person you're waiting for marriage? I understand if you didn't know either. Well, see, that's what I mean, right? If I'm reading something and you're not, right? And I know something and you don't, right? I'm not trying to trick you or use you for just sex. I'm not calling you a whore or slut or things like that. But my shipmates could have. I don't know what happened. I know. But I never would. I intended to marry you. I know. Legally, either in Jerusalem or Norfolk when we got back. Right. But I was doing that as a religious gesture. Since we were both Pentecostals and had premarital sex, you know. And then, so was my pastor, a former Pentecostal preacher. Now, I didn't understand all the details, like I said, right? But he's teaching us it's okay to touch each other, honey. So I don't know what your church's stance on anything is. You could believe something different than me in our Pentecostal branch too, right? That's what I mean too. But see, then you make me think you didn't want me and to marry me, I know. Unless my shipmates are typing up letters to you, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. And then you scared me away, I know. And I backed off. I thought, well, okay. Right. I guess I was too fast for her, or too much in a hurry to complete the sex act. See, again, if you make it a sin, what we did under the tree, right? All I can do is apologize for my misconstruing what you wanted from me and repent of it. And wipe the slate clean, right? And forgive you as Jesus forgives us all for our sins. And forgive myself for confusing us both, right? Because I know you were equally confused. I was confused to be with you before marriage. And I did not honestly know you were waiting for marriage because you did not say so, right? See, that's what show's about too. It teaches you about consent, right? And I didn't have sex with you because I didn't want to marry you. I had learned by then sex can lead to marriage, but it's up to the individual. And some people, okay, lead you on. I do know that, right? And won't legally marry you. But that wasn't my intent. I know it wasn't. And it wasn't because of your dad, right? That I wouldn't have legally married you either. But I thought you also understood by your dad that if you have sex with someone other than your dad, it's not the same sin, right? It's something different. It's something different. It's consensual sex then, and that don't mean the guy won't legally marry you either. Now, if you understand what I meant, where were we when I offered to marry you in Jerusalem, right? And see, this is what they show on SVU, by the way. It has rapes and stuff like that, right? You saying the guy had the girl bend over, right? He had a gun. Okay. But what does our story sound like, Sheena? Consensual sex. Right. You consented to the sex and then realized later on it was sex and then got religious on me, right, about the sex and ruined our marriage. I was still going to legally marry you, by the way. Unless you what? Didn't really want to get married. And see, that's the point. I didn't know what was going on, right? You kind of seemed willing the day of, right? We seemed fine the day after, right? And then, right? Do you not think I was doing it also as an expression of my love for you? And not just to embarrass you or your dad or... the only reason I have to bring that up is I was with a girl who was done that way before you, right? Only I didn't have sex with her. But I was looking at her, you know. But I'm trying to explain it to you, right? Where our confusion came in wasn't that I saw you as damaged goods or anything. I saw you as my potential wife. That even if I had premarital sex with you, you would understand I wanted to legally marry you too, and wouldn't think it a sin. Like I didn't see it as a sin to be with you before marriage in the law of America, right? But I had to learn sex is marriage. That's what I'm wanting to marry about too, right? But see, I had to move on from you. You took it bad, right? Now I gotta figure out what happened that we got our wires crossed, right? You're not talking to me. No. This is really still a one-sided conversation, right? I'm not trying to guilt trip you either, right? I'm trying to discuss a religious idea with you that men have added to the commandment of God. Now, Jesus didn't judge the woman with 5 husbands, did he? No. And even though she had a lover, did he condemn her for it? No. No. That's what I was looking at it as. Your dad had taken advantage of you, but you didn't go all the way with him. But then when you were with me, I was making love to you to legally marry you. Not just doing you as a one-night stand, but then I don't know what happened. I thought we were on the same page too. I thought it was all good. I mean, I don't know. Could also be better, by the way. But again, I don't know what happened. You are not communicating to me. I don't know what you want anymore. Do you want to legally marry me? Do you want to end the relationship and move on? That's the problem. And I know it's confusing. But what is it about her meeting the Messiah that night? And why did John bring it up? He would just be the seventh man she met. Okay? Though it does say something odd about 7 women taking hold of 1 man to take away their reproach. Which Rachel and Elizabeth had. Damn. 2, by the way. Sarah's 2. Sarah 2. Not the one next door, right? She's had her boys, right? I'm not into that, right? With all due respect. She's married. But there's something you're not telling me. Or you can't tell me, right? Was I not the guy you wanted to legally marry? Alright. Well, sex is part of the legal marriage. Sex is part of the legal marriage. Right. Only we did it before we could complete the legal part because we were out to sea on the island off of Spain under a tree. Under a tree. Right. But like I said, the communication gap. And you did not say no. But I still cannot legally force you to marry me after the sex either. Right? Exactly. You can refuse to marry me. And I would never say no one can't marry you. What do you think the prophecies to protect us both from being raped is about? See, I was under so much pressure from my shipmates about them not training me that I was having premarital sex, right? Trying to marry the women, right? But it never worked out with you until Daphne, right? And she married me because of her mother keeping her daughter, right? And wanting her to be in a stable home before she gave her to her. And made her wait 6 months before she even let her get her, right? And like I said, that puts pressure under her to marry someone off the cuff, right? But she at least understood what I was saying to marry me. And we had premarital sex too, right? Right? And that's what I mean about whether Patrick is mine or not. I don't know the details. I don't even know she's not making it up to mess with me, right? But like I said, by what she told me, it's all years too. Yeah. That's all I can say. And I'm not trying to force her. If it's over between me and her as far as Shane to marry forever, right? I understand that. But if the boy's my son, right, I care for him. And like any divorced parents, we have a child involved, right? If she wants to stay in Colorado or Virginia or New York or wherever, great. I'll let it go. I pray for the boy. I don't know. If he wants to get the DNA test to confirm it, that's all I can offer him, right? But that's why I'm explaining what happened over and over again, right? You aren't getting the details, right? right. Nor am I explaining it right, I guess, right? Forgiveness, even if you don't love me anymore. You ever heard of love at first sight? That's all I thought we had. Right? That instant karmic or connection. Well, what do you think's going on? Right? The woman was with 5 husbands, 1 lover, and met Jesus, the Jewish man, talking to the Samaritan women, which all the disciples thought was odd. What do you think he's doing with her there? What do you think they did that night? Damn. What, 7 women, 7 women shall take hold of 1 man to take away their reproach among women. Why do you think she had 5 husbands and a lover? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And what do you think Jesus was doing with her, being her 7th? And was she his first? I don't know. Of the 7 he was allowed to be with. As the Messiah. See? If he's like King David, how many wives did David have? 17. If the Messiah is allowed 7 women, right, to take away their reproach, right? In Judaism, that means she was with 5 husbands, didn't have a baby with them. The 6th wasn't doing the job. And who was the 7th? Jesus himself. There you go. That's why the stories in the Bible. There it is. Bam. But you don't hear this from Sunday school class. You don't hear this interpretation of it. But that too means they had what? Just sex that night too. But she probably what? Probably got pregnant too. I bet. And she also probably had a daughter. Because he will not see his seed. He'll be cut off from the land of the living, right? But he was resurrected too, right? Did he also marry Mary Magdalene, and she was cheating on him with 7 brothers, who also didn't legally marry her, but were committing adultery with her. Do you understand what I mean there, right? If you mess with the Messiah's wife, and it was Mary Magdalene, right? And that was what the wedding in Canaan was all about. And yet you changed the teaching after Constantine, because before the Gnostics were talking about Mary and Jesus kissing on the mouth or some party part. You can't do that in Judaism, honey. Unless it's your wife.